So, upon my gathering of information, most of the time when I do these videos, I like to research and I like to look at the things that's impacting our society, especially in this quote unquote post pandemic or first phase of the pandemic, whole entire thing that's going on post pandemic society. You know, um, a lot of things that happened during the pandemic. For instance, one of the biggest topics that came along was this conversation about isolation and loneliness. A lot of people getting more depressed and not being able to spend time with family and friends. And then especially now, because we have the whole entire thing with remote work, more people don't need to be inside of a corporate office with other people. And certain people would rather it stay that way. Other people is like, well, I don't really want to do remote work, but because my company is offering this because of the pandemic or it's a hybrid schedule, this is what I have in my disposal. Now, also what comes with the whole entire thing of loneliness is, like I said, depression. And then later on in this video that I'm going to be reviewing today, a lot of diseases started coming into this because of loneliness. People probably, and that's just a result of people probably not taking care of themselves as much, or because they can't, they're not used to being in a certain environment or a certain way. It's impacting them physically. Now, my thing about it is this. I remember doing a YouTube short on this from one of my Brownstone Powwow panels, in which I had said there's a difference between loneliness and being alone. See, certain people's personality types, and that's what goes into the whole entire thing of introverted versus being an ambivert versus being an extrovert. Certain people have to thrive off of other people's energies. Certain people have inner energies where they don't need to be around other people, or they prefer to be by themselves. Now, certain people, certain individuals like myself, I have no problem being alone. I have no problem going to different places by myself. I have no problem traveling by myself to different places and enjoying my own company, and then coming back home and still being able to phone a friend or be able to text a woman that I'm interested in, or just anyone that's around me or I'm cool with. You understand? But for other people, they can't do that. Or let me not say that. It's hard for them to do that. You understand? So the pandemic not only changed the paradigm of the new makeshift of society, it also changed the energy and the personalities of a lot of people, because with coming to being lonely versus alone, a lot of people can't thrive being by themselves. And that's just the truth. You understand? So this video I'm going to be showing you today, the US had basically just put out this new thing on the table where they're basically saying that now we have an epidemic of isolation, where a lot of people are lonely. And with breaking down the idea about lonely versus alone, alone is more like a choice to me, versus lonely is that overwhelming emotion of not liking to be by yourself. And I would dive into that at a later date and stuff like that. But just to get the idea, choosing to be alone is different from being lonely. And I just want people to understand that. But anyway, today I'm going to be showing you this video where they're going to be talking about the isolation, the epidemic of isolation. We'll go over it. So peep.
Think about it. When was the last time you had a coffee with a friend or just call someone just to catch up?
The U.S. Surgeon General says that Americans aren't connecting the way they used to, and it's leading to a new national epidemic, loneliness. CBS 2's Jessica Moore reports.
Paul Alejandrino owns his own medical billing company and says he knows firsthand how crippling loneliness can be.
Like right now, I'm working from home. There's nobody here. I mean, I could only stare at the computer for so long. Yeah, I want to talk to people, and the loneliness, quote unquote, I think comes into play during the day.
And he's not alone. The Surgeon General is sounding the alarm about what he calls the epidemic of isolation and loneliness sweeping the country. Dr.
Now, the funny thing about this is that I had thought about this as well, where the idea of social media of today is actually very helpful in more ways than one, because it can actually be a helpful mate to the situation, or it can be very bad to certain situations. Now, this is where I break down why social media of today is essential to people who are lonely, because of the art of having these YouTube panels or having Zoom calls or being able to to have conversations about any old thing. There is always groups for people to express themselves. And I mean, even with that, before the pandemic began, I could remember as well, there was a lot of wellness groups that were happening, especially for so-called Black men. It's about making my channel towards you guys. But the thing about it is that the pandemic, of course, changed everything, but it also helped there to still be social interactions, despite the fact that people were staying at home more. And even today in 2023, more people wanted to stay at home with the whole entire thing of working from home jobs or, hybrid schedules. Of course, we understand that. And then still there are events that take place of today where people are still wanting to go outside, go clubbing and social interaction, all these different things. So I would say that the internet did actually help out in this sense, where you're still able to communicate with a person you don't know in real life and be able to develop a bond, a rapport, and all these different things. But can't be said for everyone. Everybody has their own taste. Everybody has their own things that they have to do. But this is why I say it's a positive light to this whole entire thing with the internet allowing for panels and all these different things to happen.
Dr. Vivek Murthy says 1 in 2 Americans of every age, race, and gender is experiencing measurable levels of loneliness, exacerbated by the pandemic.
How tough is it when you go a whole day or several days in a row without any human interaction during the day?
I think it's tough. I can't last.
And this isn't just about mental health. Dr. Murthy says loneliness is linked to sleep problems, dementia, diabetes, even heart disease.
The problem with loneliness is that people don't want to talk about it. They're ashamed to talk about it. Nobody wants to admit that they are lonely.
Psychiatrist Dr. Carol Lieberman says we need to look at loneliness the same way we see hunger or thirst.
Well, the thing about it is, when it comes to expressing the ideas of emotions such as loneliness, it does transcend into physical problems. I think that's something that pretty much I can understand and I can agree with this lady that's talking, that increasingly, a lot of the times when you feel down and out, it can give way to a lot of physical problems, like I said, heart problems, and, not being able to get proper sleep or rest, or even develop addictions based off the fact that you have these problems with being lonely. So my thing about it is like this. I always recommend to someone who is alone or lonely, no, more specifically lonely, never be afraid to reach out to someone, number one, but always find some extracurricular activities to do in order to curtail the idea of loneliness. Now, it may not help to a great degree, but it's also better for a mental exercise, in my opinion, for someone to do something as simple as go jogging, go hiking, go biking, different things like that. Maybe you don't want to go to a club. Maybe you don't want to go to a wellness center. Maybe you don't want to do all of that. But we also have to figure out a way of finding a way to exercise our minds and being able to exercise our thoughts and our emotions and feelings, and being able to express it in a way where it's healthy and it's actually helping you, not going against you. You understand?
Do need to think about it that way. It's a survival signal. So if we just kind of put it in those terms, that if we're feeling lonely, okay, that means I better go out and talk to somebody, call somebody, visit somebody, make a play date, for ourselves as adults.
Dr. Lieberman says chances are the person you reach out to is lonely too.
And that makes it a little easier to reach out, rather than thinking, if I call so-and-so, they're going to realize I'm lonely and they're going to think I don't have any friends and there must be something wrong with me. Think about it more in terms of giving to other people.
Jessica Moore, CBS 2 News.
The surgeon
And that's the end of the video. And my assessment on that is, honestly, I'm the type of person to say you shouldn't give a damn about what other people think. If you really do feel lonely, never be afraid to reach out to another person to express that. Or if you don't feel comfortable with saying that, you could just do things like, hey man, I just wanted to hit you up, it's been a while. Like, and I just wanted to reach out to somebody, to talk to somebody, a lot of things on my plate, a lot of things on my mind, I just want to express it to you, do you got time? It's different ways of being able to express that loneliness, where if you don't feel confident in saying that you are lonely, you have the option of expressing it in different ways or words. But that's just my whole thought process. I'm the type of individual who has no problem with being by myself or being quote unquote dolo. You know what I mean? I have no problem doing that. I have no problem, relaxing and minding my own business, and then, still being able to phone my friends or people I'm cool with, and still being able to have a conversation or social interactions. That's just me. But give me your thoughts in the comment section. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Peace.